Hi there, happy hump day and welcome to Wednesday. So today we are talking about values and also values at work. When you think about it, we all have values. Our values shape how we see the world. They shape how we decide things. They shape how we interact, how we feel after interactions and how we feel after decisions have been made. Of course, our values can be challenged in the work environment. I remember many years ago, one of my clients was working in an environment which wasn't fun. To be blunt, it was pretty toxic. The CEO was a narcissist, a bully, could often reduce people to tears, to feeling less than who they were. The challenge with the executive that I was working with is they had a very, very different disposition, a different approach to leadership, a different approach to decision making. What they were finding though over time is that that environment was wearing them down. The environment was impacting their behavior and how they were interacting with their colleagues and with their teams. It was a great reminder. Emotions, behavior, they're contagious. Research backs this up. When you spend too much time in a negative environment, too much time working with people who are nasty, who are bullies, that can start to rub off on you. The University of Manchester's Business School looked at the impact on employees when they were working for someone who was a narcissist and had psychopathic traits. And what they found, in many respects, isn't surprising. When you're working for someone like that, you generally feel more depressed, less satisfied in the work that you do. But it also impacts how you interact with people. And you are more likely, according to the research, to engage in less desirable behavior. It filters down. If you've got toxic behavior at one level, it filters down to that next level and to the level below that. And that's why it's so important to know, what are your values? What's that line that you won't cross? Are you really clear on what it is you stand for? Because if you're not clear on what it is you stand for, it's hard to know where that line is. And once you cross that line, it's harder to go back from it. You start to make decisions that slowly erode your sense of integrity, your sense of self, that sense of ethics and what it is that really matters to you. When you think about someone who has integrity, and everyone likes to think they've got integrity, but a person who has integrity, they're living their life according to moral and ethical principles. And that means at a practical level that they're living their life not just according to what they say, but it's very demonstrated in the decisions that they're making and how they're interacting with people. You know, we all bristle if someone was saying that our integrity was being called into question. Because for most of us, our integrity is something that we really value. We hold it dear, and it's not something that we would want to lose. But if you don't know where that line is, if you're not clear on what you're standing for, how do you know whether you've stepped over it? How do you know if your integrity is being called into question? And when you're working in an organizational environment that's, a bit dodgy, maybe skates on thin ice, encourages or just tacitly approves dodgy behavior because it doesn't do anything about the behavior when it's dodgy, that can impact you. Impact how you behave, how you turn up. Over time, you become culturalized. Just is the way that things get done around that organization. And so you start doing the same. So to me, it's about considering a couple of things. One, knowing that line that you won't cross, but really clear and understanding how integrity plays out for you. Because for me, it's got two key aspects: courage and that kind of sense of awareness and consciousness. And for each of them, there's a range. And yes, there's never sort of black and white. You're not all of one or all of the other. But when you think about courage, it's either absent or it's present. When you think of your awareness, your consciousness about how you're behaving and the impact that the organization is having on you, You can be either active or passive. How you fit on that 4x4 matrix is really going to tell you whether you are actively aware of the moments when you need to stand up and be courageous, of the impact that the environment is having on you, and what you want to do about it. You know, history is littered with examples of people who just were either blind to the environment that they were working in, or, to use the old sort of adage, just turned a blind eye. They knew it was there, they just didn't want to give it any attention, because if they gave it attention, then they just might have to do something about it. But when that happens, in the end, you become infected by what's going on in the organization. You've basically sold out your ethics and sold out your integrity. At the other end of the spectrum are people who are really conscious, really aware of when they need to step up, of the impact that the environment is having on them. They've got that courage to remain centered, knowing that that can be really hard to do, but they're living their life according to their values and their principles. I've worked with leaders like that, and I'm sure you have too. And wow, when you work with people like that, it just feels so much better, because it enables you, it permits you, encourages you for you to do the same, for you to be your best. It creates the space for everyone to operate according to strong ethical and moral principles. You know, I know life is not clear cut. There are often shades of grey. And that can mean it's sometimes hard to know, is this good, is this not so good? But when you are clearer on your principles, your ethics, your integrity, and what really matters to you, and your values, and you're using all of those elements to make the decisions, it's so much easier. You know, I love the words of Benjamin Franklin, who would say to himself at the end of each day, and at the start of each day, what good shall I do today? And then at the end, what good have I done? Maybe you just start with that. Take care. I'll see you next week.